Okay, we are, last Sunday we didn't, Pastor Gary didn't preach from John. It was a little turn, but we are back in a John. And I don't know if you remember, but before we were in a chapter 9, there was the issue with the blind man, and everybody was upset that Jesus held him. And now we're moving on into the chapter 10. So if you have your Bible in your phone or physical, please open it and follow it with me, because you might not understand all the pronunciation I will say, but that's why you need to have your Bibles. John 10, and we will read from verse 1 to 21. Very truly I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The goatkeepers open the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes and ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore Jesus said again, very truly I tell you, I'm the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I'm the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thieves come only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to it the full. I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolves attack the flocks and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me. And I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep, they are not of this sheep pen, but I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reasons my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay down and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. The Jews who heard these words were again divided. Many of them said, he is a demon-possessed and raving mad. Why listen to him? But others said, there are not the sayings of a man possessed by demon. Can a demon open eyes of the blind? So I want you to bring also these two verses into Jesus' speech because it is in one part, and so we have kind of a farming theme this Sunday, and I don't know who of you are shepherds by profession. Any of you? Any of you ever experienced the shepherding the sheep? One. Any of you ever see or saw the sheep? Oh, there's more, right? Any of you touch the sheep? Yeah. There's a. How you can see that? How you can touch them without? Oh. Does any of you eat the sheep? Yeah. There is one. So the sheep are inside you, right? And I think that when we're reading Bible and when we're reading scriptures like this, you can find a lot of explanations on the internet, because this is, for us in Western countries, this is so unusual to have sheep. I live in the 11th floor in apartment building, and it would be very complicated to have a sheep. And I think my neighbors will complain, and I would love to have a sheep. But actually goats, I like them most. But they're amazing animals. But for us, this figure speech is really strange. And of course, many of us, we heard so many sermons and explanation that Jesus is the shepherd and we know his voice. And I believe that this is not the first time you're reading John 10. And you probably heard many times from people while they were preaching, they said that Jesus is a good shepherd, right? Jesus is a good shepherd. You see the pictures, and maybe you have the image of David who said, Lord is my shepherd. And we have this sheep idea in the Bible through the whole Bible, because it was so normal. I spent like 2 days to trying to find something what will be relative to us as a sheep and shepherd and this picture, but I didn't find anything what would be correct, and so we will stuck with this image of sheep and shepherds, and we will try to think about like shepherds. The difference between us and people 200 years ago or 100 years ago, when there were no information, we have so many information, and many of us so beautiful documentaries, movies about the shepherds from the mountains in Romania, and we can travel around the world and we can visit places where, and even here in Slovakia, I have friends who have goats and sheep, and when I go there, you can they will let you to milk them. We just been this summer in a farm with our kids camping, for 6 days, and every day at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, they let the kids bring the sheep from a pasture back to the farm, and all the kids can milk them and pet them, and so we have it is very strange way of life for us, those who live in Slovakia, those who live in places where it's not normal. So, but I think we can imagine and we can see why Jesus is telling this to Pharisees. The truth is that the word shepherd and this is very strange for our culture, but the word shepherd was used in the Israel in that time and in the past, word for politician and also for kings. So for us, shepherd is somebody who is somewhere in the mountains or like under the forest, and on the pasture. He's there by themselves with the few of his dogs. That's my image of shepherds, because that's what we have in Slovakia. Maybe some of you know about the farms and other picture you have when you think about shepherd, but not many of us in this age think about shepherd as a king or politicians. Maybe as a joke or if you're making fun of them, but it is not really a picture of it. And but when Jesus was speaking directly to Pharisees, they didn't understand. We read, but they should understand, because he was speaking about them. He was speaking when he was saying that anybody who didn't enter the sheep pen are the thief and a robber. He was speaking about them. And the later Jesus said that I'm the door, and this can be very, very weird for us. Because I ask a lot of questions. I'm not. I was going to say I'm not a sheep who will listen, but no, it's not a good time to say that. I like to ask the questions. I like to question things. I don't like to just receive and do whatever it tell me. But some non-Christian people think that this is the picture of Christians, like they sheep. They do whatever it's telling them. But this is not the whole picture. The context of this story is that we know the shepherd. And Jesus is the good shepherd who's coming through the door. And then Jesus say that I'm the door. And if I didn't read the notes and the theologians and historian who said that actually in all times when they make these sheep pens, there were no doors. It was the shepherd who laid as a door, who was a doorkeeper, who was laying as a door. He was the protection. So now the image of Jesus as a door is not like squeaking doors. Is the one who laying on the ground and protect the sheep with his body. And even back in the day, they didn't have, like each shepherd didn't have their own sheep pen. Some of them there was a one sheep pen for many shepherds. And all of the good shepherds who have their sheep in the one pen, they came, the doorkeeper opened or let them go in, and they called their sheep. So not all the sheep in the flock, not all the sheep in the sheep pen belongs to one shepherd. They belongs to different shepherds. When they start speaking, they were start calling their names. The particular sheep that were mixed with others just came out of the sheep pen and followed the shepherd. And the rest of them stay. So these are, again, usually in Slovakia there is one shepherd and all the sheep belongs to him. Actually, back in the day in Slovakia, near High Tatras, I remember I was visiting one village called Štrba, and that every morning, all the farmer, they just open door for their livestock, and the cow came out of the barn and walked on the street. And there was a village shepherd who walked through a particular hour. He walked through on the street, and all the cows followed him to the pasture. And in the evening, he walked back the same way, and all the cows came to the barn. So they also, but there's a different story. But the image is the same, that the one shepherd is collecting sheep from different flocks, different owner. And, Jesus is first speaking that I'm a shepherd, I'm a good shepherd, and this is my sheep. They know my voice. They understand me, they follows me. But then he show us the picture, and he continue and saying, I'm the doorkeeper. I'm the one who protecting and laid my life and physical. The shepherd laid his life or laid down on the ground to protect the sheep. Jesus saying that this is me, laying on the ground, protecting the door, and only the shepherds who came through me are the shepherds who own the sheep inside of this sheep pen. And Jesus is directly speaking that those who appear among the sheep from somewhere, climb the walls or whatever, back door, they are thieves. So Jesus basically sharing or saying that anyone who is not approved by me, anyone who is not using me as a door. Jesus in other place, John 14:6, he said, I'm the only way, I'm the truth. Only way to the Father, it's through me. When I was as a missionary, this was the key verse. People had no problem with the God thing. I mean, the God idea and theology. They have no problem with the spiritual experience. They even love it. I spoke with people, and I said that I shared with them some spiritual experience I had, and these native guys who were really into animistic religion, they were like, wow, amazing. And they shared experiencing with me with some spiritual. So people have no problem with spiritual experience. They have no problem with the God in most countries. But they have problem with Jesus. They have problem to go through Jesus. And Jesus is saying, I'm a good shepherd. I'm here for you. I lay my down. And later on, in verse 17, 18, he goes on and saying that I didn't need to give my life. It was on my own accord. It was something what I decide to do. Bible said in one place that give life for a friend or for somebody is one of the great things. But anyway, and we all die. So we just do it a little bit earlier if we die for somebody. But Jesus was in totally different position in heaven. He was not supposed to die. He lived for eternity. He decided to become a flesh. He decided to become mortal so he can die. So his decision, our decision, if we die for somebody, it will be our decision. But we know that anyway we will die. So if you're going to protect your wife, your children, you think this is the best way to go, to die for them so they can live. But Jesus wasn't in the position. He wasn't looking for, his future wasn't death when he was living in heaven. He decided to become mortal. And then he decided to die. Listen, obeying Father. And sometimes we feel like, or I feel like, maybe none of you, that that I know Jesus, and I know His voice, or actually, sometimes I feel I know Jesus because I know a lot about Him. I preach many sermons about Him. I read many books about Him. Read His life story in the Bible. 4 different authors, different perspective. You feel like, I know Jesus. But then when it's come to knowing His voice, that's a totally new challenge. And one time I had the image of knowing Jesus as like we know the celebrities, right? We think we know them, and we feel like they know us because we know everything about their life. Like some people, for example, can share about Michael Jordan everything: the size of his shoes, the name of his children, where he lives, the address, how much he spent in casino. Almost everything what you can read in the media, what you can find out, you know his life. You know what he's doing in the free time when you watch documentaries about him. You know how he acts, like he speaks, what his character. You think like you know him. And the Michael Jordan will walk into this room and it will be all strangers to him, even you know so much about him. Because actually you don't know each other personally. And sometimes this is us, Christian, when we say, I know Jesus. I know Jesus. And then Jesus entered the room and we don't even can recognize His voice. We cannot even, He don't know us. And Bible speak about that in a different place. And I don't want to go into that Jesus is asking, who are you? And what did you do? And that's the whole other sermon. But it's the picture of us. Sometimes want to know more about Jesus, want to spend time with people who know about Jesus, want to hear a sermon, want to sing a song for Him. But the challenging thing is to be with Him. For me, I love to do things for Jesus. I love to do things for God. I'm willing to die for Jesus. But for me, honestly, it's very hard to decide to spend time with Jesus. And it is weird as it sounds. I don't know if anybody can find yourself there. But I can do conference. I can go to countries wherever Jesus sent me. That's my DNA. But to be in my room and just said, Jesus, here I am. I just want to spend time with you. It's like there's no time for it. I have other things to do. Oh, I remember I need to write this text to that person. Oh, I need to fix this. Oh, I have a free time. I can do some homework, some stuff around the house. But how we will know His voice if we don't spend time with Him? How we will recognize the Good Shepherd if we have no idea? If we have no idea how His voice sounded? How we will follow Him? And more, I realize maybe something what you already figured out a long time ago. But I'm learning that there is nothing more important than spend time with Jesus. It didn't change that it is challenging for me. to finding the true is the one thing. To live it, it's another story. It's another thing. But this is what He's calling us to do. This is what He's saying to us. This is what He was speaking and trying to explain to Pharisees. I am here for you. In one part, Jesus saying that I have another sheep, and they are not in this sheep pen, and I must bring them also. I must bring them also. And Jesus was speaking to Jewish people in the moment when He was saying this. So this is about us. This is about Gentiles. That He is bringing us. That we are from different sheep pens and bringing us. And today, when we are adopted into His family, we can say that this word is still live, because there is a bunch of sheep out there. People from different religions, from atheism. People who belong to Jesus, belongs to His flock, but they're just lost. We look at people outside, the unbelievers, we look at them many times as sinners and almost like God hates them. But truly, Jesus died for them. They are His sons and daughters. They just don't know about it. But how we can be examples for other sheep if we don't know His voice? If we don't know Him and if He don't know us? I cannot imagine shepherds walking in a sheep pen. Like, imagine this is a sheep pen, and I will be just calling the names of the sheep. For me, because I'm not a farmer and I never raised the sheep before, for me all look very same, Four legs, fluffy, 2 eyes, most of them. But here, Jesus say, I know them by name, and they hear my voice. Jesus know you by name. Do you know His voice? If you feel like you don't know His voice, if you feel like you have a hard time to listen or to hear His voice, then I give you advice. And I give that advice to me many times. And you might remind yourself about that advice. Spend time with Him. Spend time in His presence. Not doing things for Him. Not creating things for Him. Not to asking stuff from Him. But spend time with Him. And then you will know His voice. Then we will all know His voice. And we will be able to follow. And all those sheep who are new in the flock will see and will learn from how we acting and how we following Jesus. This picture is so simple and sometimes maybe out of our world where we're living in, the towns and cities. But it is still relevant to us. And it is important to remember that it is not enough that you know about somebody. But you need to be able to recognize His voice. And He need to know you by name. Let me pray. Father, thank you then for your precious gift, for Jesus. Jesus, thank you for your willingness, obedience to Father, to come on this earth, to become mortal, so we can be with Father again. Jesus, you said great things about yourself. You said you are a good shepherd, you are a doorkeeper, you don't let anybody go in. And we know, Jesus, that you are the only way and only true and only way to the Father. But Father, Jesus, we ask you to reminding us in these busy days we live in to just stop everything we do, even when we do it for you, and just spend time with you. So we are able to hear your voice. So we are able to follow you and be obedient to you. There is so many voices and sounds and just noise around us. Help us to stay in your presence quiet so we are able to hear. We love you, Jesus. We glorify your name. Amen. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bon appetit. dobrú chuť. And see you next Sunday. Or if you're a man, you're welcome to men's group Thursday. God bless you.